There we go.
Erie. It's Monday, September 2nd, still the morning. Welcome back for another Flagship City Sports Talk brought to you by Quick Fill. My name is Nick Artman, and as always, I'm joined by the Honorable Paul Adamczak. Paul, how we doing?
I'm doing well. Had a great weekend. Happy to be here. Excited to talk football.
Yeah, buddy. We're going to need that judge mentality here today for later on in the show.
So I can buy a gavel.
I hope you're ready. We put that on the list.
Uh-huh.
And in the big chair, we have the great and powerful Rich Smith. Rich, what's up, buddy?
Has to be a big chair because I'm a big dude.
You said it, not me. And then joining us for the show today, for the entirety of the show, our good friend, Isaac Petcash from Erie News Now. Isaac, how are you, man?
Gentlemen, how we doing? You know, they say I've got a better face for radio than TV.
I don't know, Isaac, you there?
I'm here. You guys got me? Hello?
Live radio is fun.
Yeah, you know,
it is.
Nothing makes good radio other than dead air. No?
All right, I'm here.
Well, Nick's
Hello.
working on the technical aspect of this whole thing.
There we go.
We do have a lot coming up in the next hour. We're going to start with some high school football. I don't want to really take away from Nick's read in because he's got it all organized real well. But I know Petcash is here. We're going to talk some high school football. We do have a couple of special guests coming up in the first 15 minutes. For the flagship feature, maybe only the second time we've had two at a time. So this is a really special one. And then we're going to break down a lot of football throughout the rest of the show because, as I'm sure everyone who cares is aware, this Thursday it's back, baby. And this Sunday we got a full slate of games. Yesterday was the last Sunday until February 9th that there was no professional football on a Sunday. So. Yeah.
And I saw it. What do we have? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday NFL football this week, I think I saw.
Is there Friday? There's no Friday, Saturday, is there?
I don't know, but if there is, I saw it on Twitter, so it's got to be real.
Fair enough. I don't think so. I think high school Friday, college Saturday, NFL Sunday, NFL Monday.
We'll fact check that at the break. If not, there's always college football that you can follow along with too. So, yeah, you know what? Before we get started, though, I do want to make a quick mention. Happy Labor Day to everyone. Today we honor and recognize the contributions of American workers for the labor movement's role in securing workers' rights and improving working conditions. How do we do that? We're going to talk some sports and barbecue.
Yep. So, God bless America.
Before we get started here today, do you guys have any Labor Day picnic plans, things you guys do? Or what are your plans for today? Rich, you camping?
No. Just kind of. Well, I got to work from home, kind of, sort of. I got to do a couple hours after I get out of here to, but, I get most of the day off. So life is good.
No complaints there.
Yes, I too will be laboring after we leave here, but it's fine. No front door, no phone calls. I can just kind of focus on my stuff. It's good.
We don't do anything special either. I mean, we're doing the barbecue today. I love getting these. They're they're prime rib sliders from Sam's Club. Oh my gosh. Sign me. Yeah.
You had me at prime.
Isn't that how it mostly goes? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Checking back in. Isaac, can you hear us? Still nothing. We'll see if we can figure that out moving forward. All right. Like I said last week, we're still trying to figure out some of the technical side of things. We've joined part of the Gem City Sports Podcast Network, which leads us to some other outlets. We're live on Facebook today. We're live on YouTube. You can just look up Flagship City Sports Talk or Gem City Sports Network on YouTube and follow along with the conversation. So we're still going to be trying to figure out some of these kinks of the technical side of things as my mic keeps creeping down too. So we got it. Yeah, we got it all kinds of going on this morning. But no, like Paul said, we got a great show lined up for today. So you know what? Let's just. What do you think? You just want to get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. All right, on today's flagship feature, sponsored by Duska's Funeral Home, we welcome two guys that we've been talking about for a while, Jacob and Isaac Zietz of General McLane Football. Now, we've been calling the Zietz twins ZZ Top for the last year. We started this sometimes last year.
We did last year.
Yeah, and we got to talk to the guys here. We'll welcome them in here in a second. But, we got to talk to them, and they were like, well, yeah, we kind of had to look up who ZZ Top was. So, we won't hold that to you guys. But Jacob, Isaac, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
No, still no audio there either? All right. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here this morning.
Everything was working off air.
Yeah.
And then we hit the go button.
Yeah. Let me check something here. So, give a little bit of insight into Jacob and Isaac. Can you stall for me, Paul?
I can stall for you. I can tell you a little bit about what happened on Friday night. I was at the game out at Edinburgh. They played Harbor Creek. Harbor Creek was undefeated coming in. General McLane, obviously, had that heartbreaking loss in week 1 to Newcastle, 49-47. Still put up 47 points and lose. That's a tough pill to swallow. Nevertheless, they come back. They put up another 47 points this week, defeating Harbor Creek 47-19. The reason we wanted to bring these guys in, Isaac and Jacob had another unbelievable week. Isaac threw for a school record 331 yards in week 1. Had another close to 270-yard performance, 274, quick radio math on Friday night in 2.5 quarters, mind you. He was pulled with about 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. The game was well in hand. Nick, I texted you this, I think, on Saturday. Zietz has 605 passing yards through 2 games for General McLane. He's up to now 6th place in program history with 1,806 career passing yards. So this is from a tweet from Tom Reisenweber. I forwarded the tweet to you, and then I commented. So Zietz had 1,200 yards all of last season and now has 600 yards through 2 games this year. I mean, that's incredible. 300 yards a game. You're looking at a 3,000-yard passer in high school. That doesn't happen in District 10, let alone across the country very, very much. So a lot of touchdowns racked up between the Zietz twins, off to an absolute hot start to the season. Wanted to talk to him about the big win on Friday night, as we said, debuted the new turf out at Linden Field at Edinburgh, and hoping to get the 2 of those guys in here so we could hear from them directly.
Let's try it now, guys. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you guys.
Let's
and we
go.
Can hear you. Okay, awesome.
All right, gents, let's try me while we're at it.
Hey, here
right.
too. We just got too many buttons here going on. We'll figure this out sooner or later.
You'll see it on the feed. It's like, wait, where do you launch the missile from?
Anyway, let's kind of get back. Paul, you did a great job of bringing the guys in, and we want to make sure we get them back to practice here this morning. Yeah, but and Isaac, we'll give you a proper welcome here in a little bit too. But you know what, Jacob, Isaac, let's start here. I just want to, and I start every interview the same way. What's your origin story, guys? Where are you from? How'd you get here? What are you doing right now?
Well, we're from Erie, PA. We live in Edinburgh. Our dad lives in Albion. Our mom and dad are split up, so we kind of split time there. We grew up playing football with, out near our dad, where our dad lives in Springfield, Pennsylvania. It's probably 5 minutes away from Ohio. I think it's NW something. It's Northwestern Little Gritters.
Okay.
And that's where we first started playing football. We played with a team called the Bills. Played with a really great guy. You probably know him, Eric Mikovich, or you've at least probably heard of him. Ran for, I think, district judge or something like that.
Okay.
He was a great guy. And then we started playing middle school here in 7th and 8th grade. And we've always went to school here. And so I mean, what would this be? 10 years playing football. It's 10th year. Yeah. So we've been playing football forever.
Yeah. So old pros there for sure.
Yeah.
No, and we appreciate you guys coming together. And I think one of the coolest things about your story is the fact that, you guys are brothers, you're twins. So just talk about that. How do you guys find that unique, or what's the best part of, being able to play together on, with just that special connection as well?
I think it's awesome that we get to play together and be together like all the time, because if we have trouble with something or like something's not going too right, we can always, be like, we live together, so let's just go outside and throw the ball around or talk about schemes and whatnot. And we always just are on the same page.
Yep.
Does it kind of let you do that Mahomes Kelsey behind the back pass? Have you guys practiced that yet?
No.
I don't know enough for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you should go out, to practice today with McCormick and see if he'll let you do it.
We'll tell him you guys said that.
Gents, I got one for you if you don't mind. Speaking of Coach McCormick, 27 years old. We had him on the show on Thursday. He's such an interesting guy because, of course, of his age and his story. What's that relationship like between you and Coach and the years that you've been able to work with him now and multiple years in the system for you guys?
It's great. I mean, he came to the school when we were in 6th or 7th grade. Didn't really talk to him much the first year, but then I had him for class the next year. And then just from the start, like, he's a very easy guy to talk to. Like, I don't know if it's because of, our interests in football or he's a younger guy, but it's just very easy to talk to him right from the start. And then ever since then, we've had a great relationship. I mean, we lift together all the time. I have 2 classes with him, so we get to talk all the time.
Yeah.
The second half of the day is lifting in his class.
Hey, guys, let me cut you off right there real second. We're going to continue that story. If you wouldn't mind, stick around. Since we had some technical difficulties, we'd love you to stick around and bring you back in the next segment. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, cool. We'll be right back. You're listening to Flagship City Sports Talk, brought to you by Quick Fill.
I'm not going to take us down from there.
I can talk to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Over the air?
I'm not going to take off.
It's not over the air?
No, I turned off the mics.
Can't do that. Take it off.
Just when I thought I was out.
Welcome back to Flagship City Sports Talk, brought to you by Quick Fill. We had some technical issues going on in the first segment, so we begged Jacob and Isaac to stick with us for a second segment. So, guys, you still there?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you guys for taking some time out of your morning. This just means you get a little later to practice, so you can blame that one on me to coach.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to throw it to Paul.
Guys, I was going to ask you what it felt like to be the 3rd best athlete in your family behind your sister Savannah, but I will ask you guys, I'm interested in the connection you 2 guys have on the field. How do you guys train in the off season? Is it a lot of like playing catch? Are you running specific routes on air? Because the timing and connection you've had so far this year goes beyond, well, his bedroom is right across the hall from mine.
It's not just me and him. It's all our receivers. It's me, Jacob, Kyle, McConnell, Jared, Teague, Jackson, PJ. All those guys are at the summer workouts. But even outside of the regular summer workouts that mostly everybody shows up to, is we call it routes. We'll sprint for a little bit, and then we'll just get into our concepts like pass skelly and stuff like that, and then we'll just go games of 7-on-7. And me and him are always on a team, and then even after that, we'll just work on air by each other. Like the first game, Newcastle, before the game, we were on air at the Borough field because we weren't allowed on our field yet, and we were just working some route concepts and stuff like that.
So it is. It's a lot of specific route concepts, like you said, on air all off season long. Are you guys track guys? Do you play baseball, or are you guys just like football only?
Or basketball and track guys too.
Basketball and okay, so you guys are keeping busy all year round. That's great. That's great.
So let me ask you this: what are you looking forward to most this season? I mean, obviously, the obvious question is district champion or state champion. Or what are some personal goals you guys have set for yourselves?
I definitely say one of my personal goals is to break 1,000 yards this season. Last year I came up like 70 yards short, so definitely gonna try and get over 1,000 yards. And
at this pace, you might have it next week.
I hope so, but that, and I would just say win out for the rest of the season because don't want to lose more.
Who's a team you've got circled on the schedule? Who's a team that I don't want to say gives you the most worry, but who are you looking at?
Well, number one is Fort LaBeouf in my opinion. Number one is definitely Fort LaBeouf.
Did they grab your attention with the win over Farrell last week, or were you looking at them all year?
They did.
For sure. I mean, that was a big win. Mm-hmm. When do you play Fort LaBeouf?
Week 5.
Yeah.
Week 5. Who you got this week?
We got Oil City this week.
Oil City. Is that at home or is that down at the oil field?
This is at home.
Oh, okay. So back-to-back games on the new home turf. How did the new turf feel? Same as the old turf, or is it springier?
Oh no, a lot better.
A lot better. No turf burn.
No turf burn. On the last field.
That's awesome. Well, you guys didn't get tackled very much, so I don't know if you could had the opportunity to experience much turf burn. But that's good. So Oil City lost in week 1, won last week, beat Mercyhurst. So there's another 1-1 ball club coming to town, and Coach Dan York, they're going to run the ball quite a bit, and they're going to get a little bit better as time goes on. What are you looking at in the Oil City game? Keys to take away? They're a lot like Harbor Creek, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are.
Same game plan, or are you going to try something different? New wrinkles on defense. What's Coach Bradford like with the defense on the defensive side of the ball? He was at Edinboro when I was at Edinboro, and he was we'll say an animated figure on the sidelines. How was he in practice?
Just like you said, he's a very, very intense and likes to get the job done. And he loves his defensive schemes, of course. We're going up against Oil City, another run-heavy team. So we're just preaching all week, open field tackling and, reading our keys on defense and just being able to stop the run this week again.
Guys, so I want to ask you. Oh, do you mind if I jump in here, Paul?
Not at all.
Guys, obviously, the goal is to win games and whatnot, and of course, you're not. I don't think necessarily thinking about the brotherly connection when you're on the field. But just take us back to when you started playing football together, and what that relationship between the two of you has been like. And I'm sure it's going to be a special feeling continuing this right in the high school.
Yeah. Well, we were always quarterback and receiver. We play quite a bit of positions. I mean, if you can believe it, I was a right tackle when I was in sixth grade, and
I do not believe
he was the quarterback. And then I played tight end when I was in sixth grade. He was the quarterback, and I played tight end. So if you can believe it, we were actually flip flopped.
That's crazy.
And I think back in the day, I was more on the defensive side of the ball. I like to play a lot of defense. And then obviously when I got to high school and was playing quarterback, Coach McCormick doesn't let me play defense anymore. So, I mean, what happened was I did play quarterback, and then I broke my right arm and I don't know, I just didn't play quarterback anymore. I started right tackle, and then I eventually switched to tight end, and yeah.
Now you're back at quarterback.
Yep.
And a tight end, you caught everything, so naturally they moved you to the outside.
Oh, yeah. And then, there was this one game where we had scored. Did we? No. It was like 4th and 5, and he threw the pass a little high, and I caught it one hand, and I felt like Odell Beckham out.
So you both sound like you've been around the field a little bit. If you weren't playing quarterback or wide receiver, what would be the other position you'd want to play?
Probably not right tackle.
No. Yeah, I was on the D-line a little bit this week. It's not very fun. Not a big fan of it.
There was a position that I wanted to play on offense. It would probably be his position. It'd probably be receiver. And then on defense, I'd want to play a linebacker. I used to play a linebacker, and I wish I could play a linebacker again. But he would never in a million years let that happen.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. So on the field, you guys are close. You guys obviously have that special connection. Off the field, what's the sibling rivalry look like?
Oh, man. Well, we used to get in some gnarly fights. Like at first, it just start with like playing around, like messing around with each other, like bumping and stuff like that. And then sometimes it'd get a little serious, and some punches would be thrown, and mom and dad would be called. But it hasn't been the case lately. But every once in a while, it'll happen still.
Yeah.
And I used to be a lot bigger than Jacob, so I used to beat up on him. But then now, ever since he's a little bit taller than me, he's still not like bigger than me. That kind of stopped.
Yeah.
As a twin myself, they speak the truth.
All right. Who's a better athlete?
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Oh, see? You can tell who the more competitive one is. Yeah. All right. Who's the better student?
Probably him as well.
Me.
Who's the better cook?
Probably me.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever cooked a single thing in his life.
I know how to cook eggs. That's about it.
The microwave doesn't count, fellas.
Yep, exactly.
I imagine you'll be playing college ball soon, and most of your food will come from the microwave, but that doesn't count. What's another good one? You guys gamers?
Me, not so much. I used to play games, but
I'm a little bit more of a gamer. I'd say I play the new college football 25, and I play
There you go. All right, we only got a couple minutes left, so let's leave us off with this. Where, we hit the end of the season. You guys are D10 champs. You guys are state champs.
You beat Fort LaBeouf. What's next? What do you guys want to do post graduation?
Definitely just keep rolling. Definitely gain as much weight as I possibly can, and try and go to a D1 college or D2 and just keep playing. I love this sport, and I'd love to keep playing in college.
Yeah, hopefully roll our good football season into basketball and do as good as we can there, and then figure out some of my future plans. I'm not quite sure, what I want to do career-wise outside of football quite yet, but then play football in college and just, do the same things that I've been doing in high school and college.
Nice. Well, guys, thanks for sticking with us through the technical difficulties and all that fun this morning. We appreciate you coming on. We've enjoyed watching you last year and this year, and we're looking forward to the rest of the season, and hopefully we can have you back on again soon.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
thank you so much. We appreciate
Best of luck, fellas.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you know what? Just go watch some ZZ Top YouTube videos. You guys will learn who they are later.
Oh, got it.
Thank you.
Just ask your parents. You'll be fine.
All right.
All right. Later, guys. Oh, good stuff. Thank you guys for sticking with us through that interview. That was fun. You know what I mean? It's that brother, like Rich was talking about, that brotherly rivalry, that sibling rivalry is always fun, but it makes it extra special to see them on the field as well. All right, we got to wrap things up. We're going to take another break, but when we get back, we are heading into week 1 of the NFL season, so we're going to be talking some strengths and weaknesses for our Rustbelt teams. You're listening to Flagship City Sports Talk, brought to you by Quick Fill.
I know the top upper state was blocked off.
Dang.
Welcome back. Flagship City Sports Talk brought to you by Quickfill. NFL Week 1 is upon us, and we're going to discuss some strengths and weaknesses of those Rust Belt teams. What we're going to do is we're going to spend the next segment talking about weaknesses for each team. We'll kind of go around the horn. Isaac is still hanging out with us here. And then we're going to go into the last segment. We'll end on a high note. We won't be all negative here this morning. We've had some negative things going on our end, but we'll end on a positive note with some strengths as well. Before we get into those Rust Belt teams, I want to welcome to the show, friend of the show, now part of the show, Jonathan Williams, who is part of that Gem City Sports Podcast Network. Jonathan, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. How are you guys?
Good. Hanging in there. Jonathan, give us a little bit of background. Who are you? What makes you qualified to talk sports? Because we're not.
Well, originally from Danbury, South Carolina, so I'm new to the Pennsylvania area. I've been here for about 2 years. Transferred up here to play football again and finish out my master's. So been playing football since my freshman year of high school. And I feel like that makes me a little bit qualified to talk sports. I played Division I football, Division II football, Division III football. And I'm currently working on the part-time side as a sports analyst for Erie News now. So
Nice. Well, we're happy to have you, and especially for this segment too. You know, having your perspective, having been somebody who's played in depth. We have a former coach here as well, and this is going to be, I think, an exciting segment. And Isaac's still hanging out back there too. We still got him hanging there. Isaac, how you doing? You all right?
I'm good. Just a great interview, by the way, with Isaac and Jacob. I think just gives a lot of great insight and whatnot to what these high school players have and go through on a daily basis. And again, great stuff from them. Great stuff from GM on Friday. I can't wait. You know, I like the idea of the weaknesses first. I think this is similar to the, hey, I got good news and bad news as a parent. What do you want to hear first?
Bad news first. Exactly.
Always lead with the bad.
Bad news out of the way. So I'm all for this. Let's just get the bad stuff out and then talk about Super Bowl aspirations for these three teams.
All right, let's talk some Rust Belt. All right. Talking weaknesses, Steelers, Browns, Bills. Who wants to go first?
I got this.
Go.
Okay.
Any chance
I wanted to do this one first. In. Right. You're right. So I get to tear down someone? Great. All right. I'm going to start with the Browns because I don't want to pick on the Steelers quite yet. I'm going to say that it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
The weakness of the Browns I have as the running back room with about 7 asterisks next to it because absent Nick Chubb. All right, Nick Chubb changes the equation a lot. The running back room gives me cause for pause. I asked Marie Kondo what she felt about a running back room consisting of Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong, and Deontay Foreman, and she said it does not spark joy.
I'm more impressed that you have Marie Kondo on speed dial.
Thank you. Kevin Stefanski, 2-time reigning coach of the year, proved what he can do with multiple quarterbacks. Maybe he's earned the benefit of the doubt and can mesh his system to the available personnel. I feel good about the Browns' passing attack, but I'm old school. Run the ball, stop the run. That's the most consistent way to win football games. I am curious. Really, I don't put a whole lot of stock in Deontay Foreman. I think it's going to be Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong. Can one of those two guys separate from each other and become even just an average NFL running back?
Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, it's one of those weaknesses that can absolutely turn into a strength, but there's so many questions, there's so many unknowns that it's scary when you think, especially that playing in the AFC North and the games that they're going to need to win on the ground,
the kind of weather that they deal with late in the season.
Yeah.
One reason I was kind of hesitant to put the running back room is I think at the NFL level, the easiest place or easiest position to find a replacement level player is a running back position because it's so much of it carries over from high school to college to the NFL. If you can read and you have, the adequate lateral quickness, you can succeed in most NFL running back rooms. Now that said, there's a difference between like a Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb. Some guys are just so much better than the others. And I think the Browns have just a couple of dudes. These guys are high school all-stars. These are the best college running backs. They were studs at their respective colleges. I just think at the NFL level, they are subpar running backs, and they're going to try to do, maximize what they can out of these couple of guys. I don't know. I'm just questioning it early on.
Right. Well, and let me jump in with mine too, because I think mine ties to the offensive side of the ball too. Mm-hmm. If you can't rely on the run game, most teams are going to do what? Try and rely on the passing game. Can you rely on Deshaun Watson at this point? That's my weakness for the Browns is Deshaun Watson.
It's fair.
He had so much potential going into, when he was back with the Houston Texans. He gets this giant contract. We see things start, where's the ownership of this contract? Not only does the contract annoy every NFL team across the league with quarterback contracts, but now you have a guy he's seen the field what in how many years with Cleveland? Like a handful of times?
Not much. And we haven't even seen him in the preseason.
No. So what do you have going into this season? I don't think they know. I don't think they know what they have. And I think that's a big weakness whenever you're the most important position on the field is a big question mark, is a big unknown.
I think a coach playing his cards or holding his cards close to the vest is something you expect at that level. But like after a while, they can do it for a week or two and kind of, smooth things over, whatnot. But we've gone through the entire course of the preseason. We are 5 days away from week 1, and we really don't have any sort of definitive
haven't seen anything.
Answer. Yeah. Right. We have nothing on what's actually even ailing Deshaun Watson throughout this whole time. So I am at the point where I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I am.
It's one of those things where it's like there's nothing Deshaun has shown you in the last 2 seasons that shows you he's going to be the guy that you want throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game.
No, he pushes Joe Flacco out because he's nervous of Joe Flacco. Then, the rumors of the Jameis Winston trade come through because Jameis Winston is shown to be a better, at least locker room game time. So it's like, what has Watson shown you? All these backup quarterbacks have shown more than what he's shown in 2 years.
And it sucks because you have 2 running backs right now. So it's like, you have to rely on this guy. You're going to have to put the ball in his hands. You're going to have to tell him, okay, line up 4 wide, line up 5 wide at some points, and just sling the ball over the field. And Deshaun hasn't shown that he's been able to do that in the last 2 seasons.
No.
Preseason would have been a great time to get him a drive, get him 2 drives, and at least show the fan base and at least show people around like, hey, we trust this guy. This is our quarterback. We're going to put the ball in his hands and we're going to go as he goes.
Right.
Not playing any of your starters during preseason and not getting to showcase that, just it's scary for me.
Yeah.
Looking at the Browns, it's scary for me because you don't know what you're walking into the season with.
And it's like, so that either tells me the coach is comfortable and he's ready, or he just physically can't play.
I mean, the guys in the building might know what Deshaun Watson is, where he's at, and they might feel very comfortable with him. But from the outside looking in,
well, as much as I love to talk weaknesses of the Browns, and I could put the Browns down all day, let's move on. Has anybody got any other weaknesses? Browns, Bills, Steelers?
I'm gonna go Steelers, and it sucks for me because it was one of the position groups that I was really high on, especially right after the draft. But I'm looking at this offensive line right now, man.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was really big on the 3 draft picks on the offensive line, Troy Fontenot, Zach Frazier. Like that really excited me seeing them invest in their offensive line.
Yeah.
And over the course of preseason, it just hasn't looked good.
No.
They've been plugging and playing guys playing out of position, everybody getting hurt. They haven't looked like a unit. There hasn't been any continuity as a unit over the entire preseason. And I don't know that it's going to very much change going into the regular season.
Well, yeah, I mean, show us the change, right? And then you throw in, Broderick Jones, who was a high draft pick that they traded up for last year, was an absolute liability at right tackle. Right. I mean, just like a revolving door letting people come through.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a great one. And when you need that offensive line to play well this year. Arthur Smith loves to run the ball.
So many reasons.
Right, yeah. Right. Arthur Smith loves to run the ball, starts at the offensive line.
Yep.
Neither Russell Wilson or Justin Fields are great under pressure. You need that offensive line to play well. So there's a little bit of a hope and a prayer that they need to come together. Yeah, right now it looks like a weakness. Anything else on the Steelers?
I'll go with one for the Buffalo Bills, unless they've got someone with Pittsburgh. So I think Buffalo, I know the easy one would be to say, okay, well, their wide receiver room is weak. I actually don't think that's the case. I've said that I think they'll be better. Guys, I think the secondary concerns me for Buffalo. You look at, of course, you lose Micah Hyde, you lose Jordan Poyer, you lose Trey White, and I think that this team has attempted to get some sort of a assembly together through the offseason with free agency. But you look specifically at their safeties, right? DeMar Hamlin, going to be out multiple weeks. We don't know if Cole Bishop is going to be the answer because he's a rookie. And my concern is I think this team will have to rely so much on the front 4 that as Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa go, so does the defense. if this front four can't get pressure on the quarterback early in downs, I think it's going to be a long road ahead for Buffalo. And again, keep in mind, too, some of the teams that they're going to have to play in their own division. Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. We know, of course, that Aaron Rodgers is coming back with the Jets. We saw flashes from Drake May that thinks he could be a great quarterback. I think this is a team that if the secondary isn't up to par, it's going to be the front four or bust. Otherwise, this team could be in a lot of trouble when it comes to the defensive end of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And get your Dolphin love out of here. You're just trying to pander to Paul.
I appreciate it, Isaac. You're absolutely right, by the way.
I just do what I can to please the audience.
And Paul. No, I think you're spot on there. I mean, you have, and this is a passing league, right? You hear that 1,000 times a year.
Yep.
There's a passing league. If you cannot stop the pass, especially in that division, like you're saying, with some pretty good quarterbacks coming through, that puts a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. And I get Josh Allen is a top 3, top 4, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But other than Mahomes, I don't know that I would trust anybody to just be constantly coming from behind. Sooner or later, that breaks you down. You know what I mean?
And I don't really trust Buffalo's offense to be a team to go into a lot of shootouts this season.
No, I agree.
Like in years past, okay, you could look at Josh Allen and say, give me 30, give me 40 points, and we pull this game out.
Yeah.
I don't really see that being their offensive style this year with the weapons that they have and the receivers and the skill position they have. I don't see them being that offense that you can rely on and, okay, go into a shootout, score me 40 plus.
Yep.
And we get out of here with a win.
Yeah.
It's been a few years, but the pre-Stephon Diggs Bills offense was not good.
Right.
Now, that was really early on in Josh Allen's career, and I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But as soon as Stephon got there, they took off.
Yep.
Now with him gone, and I said for a couple of years, I said, you stop Diggs and it's just, and you tackle Josh Allen, and they have nothing else because they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
And now with Diggs gone, I don't know, dude. I really don't know.
Well, and that's where I disagree with Isaac a little bit too. Sorry, buddy. But I think the weakness is in a receiving room. I mean, you lost Diggs. Keon Coleman could be great, but still kind of unproven. I am a fan of Keon Coleman, by the way. Curtis Samuel has shown flashes, but he's been injury prone. And guess what? Already injured. Kincaid in year 2 is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
James Cook, I think you're going to see a lot in the receiving game. There's a lot of, I'm a fantasy nerd that's been well documented on this show. They talk about when you lose a receiver like Diggs, vacated targets will go to the running back in a lot of ways. So I could see Cook very much stepping in that role. So I think it's a weakness going into this year. But like Isaac was saying, I think that once they gel and once they maybe get a season under their belt, I think that weakness of the receiving room can absolutely become a strength, in this segment next year.
I think we're going to see a lot of 22 personnel in Buffalo this year.
Yep. Try to slow down. Yep. Slow down the pace of play. All right. We got to take a break. But when we get back, we're talking strengths. We'll end on a high note. I guess I'll find a strength for the Browns. I don't know. I might do that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Before we take that break, though, I want to take a second and thank all of our sponsors: Quick Fill, Duskus Funeral Home, Dauber Auto Supply, John's Wildwood Pizza, and Denny's Sales and Service. Without them, we wouldn't be here for you. We'll unmute it. We'll make sure we're unmuted next time. That's it, guys. We'll be back for one more segment.
back.
Welcome back to Flagship City Sports Talk, brought to you by Quick Fill. We're still talking strengths and weaknesses. We finished up the weaknesses in the last segment. If you missed it, don't forget, you can always go back and check out the podcast. You can look at, follow it on YouTube. Go back and check the YouTube video, Gem City Sports Podcast Network, or Flagship City. Flagship? Oh my gosh, this is where I'm at today, guys. Just sign me off. Flagship City Sports Talk on your favorite podcast app as well. We talked weaknesses. Let's talk about some strengths. We'll end on a high note. You know, as much as it pains me to say, we do have some strengths to talk about here with the Bills and the Steelers. But, you know, I don't know. Do we have any strengths for the Browns? No. All right, good. Let's just moving right along. No, I'm just kidding, Browns fans. No, I'm not. All right, let's go with strengths. Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first with their favorite strength for the Rustbelt teams? All right, I'll go. Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
I knew it was coming.
No, I'm a homer, but I'm not bringing this up as a homer because, like we talked about all preseason, I have a ton of worries about this offense. I don't think this offense is going to be very good at all. Arthur Smith showed me nothing to be excited about whenever he was the offensive or when he was the head coach of the Falcons, and his offensive skill players are worse here in Pittsburgh. So I have big concerns. I didn't get a chance to talk about that in the weakness segment, but
are we still doing the weakness segment now?
But where the strength lies and where I think they'll still win games this year is in that defense. And maybe I'm taking a broad approach here and just saying the defense in general, but let's start with the offensive line. Cameron Hayward seems to be getting better with age. Larry Ogunjobi, he's a fine player. He's not maybe the player he used to be. And Keanu Benton took a big step forward. So if those three, sitting in a 3-4 defense, it's a Steelers player, sometimes that nickel, they can take up space on the offensive line. And once they take those offensive line out of the equation, then you have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith just coming from all directions. TJ Watt alone is enough to make this defense a strength, but throw in Highsmith, and then their backup outside linebacker, Nick Herbig, has looked great so far this preseason. I think he would be a starting outside linebacker for most teams in the NFL. Then you add the addition of Patrick Queen, the addition of Dante Jackson, who I think is an immediate upgrade over Pat Pete. Peterson, a great cornerback in his day, seemed to take a step back. And then let Minka be Minka. And if you can get that defense to gel and everybody stays healthy, that strength, I think, comes from their defensive end. Now, depth is an issue. So, one or two injuries, and I think it immediately turns to a weakness. But that's my first strength here.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with that. Is depth is going to be big for you guys. And looking at Pittsburgh roster and looking at your depth chart, it's like, if the one goes down, who do you have as a backup in any of those spots that you trust to come in and play majority of the snaps?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the secondary and then I'm looking at the D-line. Like linebacker is your deepest group for sure. And you have some guys that are showing some flashes. Even Peyton Wilson showed flashes in preseason.
I can't wait. Yeah.
But front end and back end, I'm not exactly sure. So I hope your guys stay healthy all year. and
injuries don't happen.
I hope that injury bug doesn't hit you guys, because if it does, it could get ugly on that back end.
Yeah, I agree.
And to hammer home a couple of other guys that the Steelers defense picked up, Deshaun Elliott, you get a real good box safety.
Yeah.
Again, health is a question with him, but when he's on the field, he's a playmaker. And Landon Roberts, the other inside linebacker, in a deep group. He couldn't cover a twin-size bed with a queen-size sheet, but he is a hammer coming downhill.
I'm still trying to visualize that.
That's a new one.
All right, let's keep going. What are some more strengths?
Let's see. We'll go with the Bills. And I think Isaac mentioned it a little bit. The strength of the Bills is going to be their defensive line. Greg Rousseau had a tremendous preseason, showing growth potential after a sort of a breakout year a season ago. Ed Oliver, AJ Epinesa, Daquan Jones ran out the starting four. And if you notice, I didn't even mention former All-Pro Von Miller, who I expect to have a very strong role coming off the bench. Bills are going to be tough against the run, dangerous in passing situations, which bodes well for anyone. And I said it earlier, if you're able to control the line of scrimmage, that's going to keep you in games. And that doesn't even account for the other strength of that team, Josh Allen.
Yeah. I think that's just a blanket strength when you think about this team.
That was the easy one, right?
You know, we talked about it a few weeks ago when we did the So You're Saying There's a Chance segment. Is there a chance that Josh Allen can be MVP? And yeah, there's a chance. And if the Bills want to win game, he's going to have to play at that level. But there's also, you know, a chance that he might not. So no, I think that's a good one.
I'm gonna jump in here, and I'm actually gonna disagree with what you said before the break. I think an underrated strength of this Bills team is their wide receiver room, and here's why. I think Joe Brady, we saw last year at the end of the season, not use Stephon Diggs a lot in certain passing situations. I don't think this Bills offense under Joe Brady is a team that is geared around one guy. You take a look at the wide receiver room. I know Jonathan and I have talked a lot about Dalton Kincaid. I think he's going to have 1,000+ yard season. Keep in mind, too, you've got Dawson Knox on the other end. So you've got two tight ends that you can use in a 2 tight end set. Khalil Shakur is an underrated guy who could catch 8 to 10 touchdowns this year. I don't say that because he's a superstar. I think because his ability to make plays in space, get to the middle of the field. If you can use your tight ends to clear out that space, I think Shakur could be a really, really good wide receiver. And then again, Keon Coleman doesn't have to do much. If you could get 600 yards and 7 touchdowns with Keon Coleman this season, you'd be thrilled. So while I think they don't have the superstar that they did last year, the depth of this wide receiver room, if you throw in the tight ends, a lot better than what people think.
Yeah. I just don't see – I agree with that. And I agree with the entire point of them having more depth and a lot more pieces and guys that might be underrated at that position. I just don't see the big play ability or the explosive play ability out of this group of receivers that you've kind of become accustomed to with the Buffalo Bills offense with Josh Allen at the helm. So that's the only thing that worries me. And that's why I say, like, I don't see them being a shootout type of offense. I see them being a 21, 28 point offense. Your defense is going to have to get some stops to get out of games alive and win some football games. Because if they get in the shootouts, I just don't know that they have the raw firepower to compete.
The question I have with the Bills receiver room is they have a lot of slot receivers. I don't think they have a true A1 outside boundary wide receiver. Shakir, Samuel, even Keon Coleman at the college level got a lot of his yards on the inside because of how big he is. Mm-hmm. But you can't really stand him on the outside, put him against the number one corner and say, hey, go deep to open up stuff underneath. You're not going to draw safety with that. You can cover him with one guy. So it doesn't really give you the numbers advantage. So Joe Brady's really, really smart. The offense completely changed in the second half of last year when he took over for Ken Dorsey. So I think he's going to come in with a plan. I do think he's going to run the ball more this year. I think he has to.
Yeah.
But the receiver room, Isaac, I believe you. I know you were up there in Orchard Park drinking the Kool-Aid. I have questions.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I mean, again, keep in mind, too, the other part of this offense that no one really talks about for the receiving is the running backs, right? James Cook's capable of catching passes. You have Ty Johnson, Ray Davis Jr., who are both speed type of backs, almost like a Jalen Warren type of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, Jonathan mentioned the big playability. I don't think Buffalo needs that. They have Josh Allen, right? And we've seen Josh Allen be able to, on his own before, run for 20, 30 yards, make plays on his own. So I think this offense, if they can average 6 to 7 yards a play, I think that's perfectly fine enough. And again, keep in mind, we know this back end for Buffalo is not going to be great, but the front four is going to wreak enough havoc that I think it's going to become more of the Pittsburgh Steelers rule, where they're going to make or be expected to make one game-changing play per game. And in a league where, quarterbacks win things, right, I think that's going to be enough for Buffalo to get through. Again, will they have a superstar wide receiver with all the stats like Diggs? No, but I think you're going to see in Joe Brady's offense, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yep. No, I agree.
It sounds like we're all saying the same thing. This is Josh Allen. The strength of this team is Josh Allen. Yep. And if they're going to be any good offensively, it's going to be because of Josh Allen.
And I think we could be a year away from saying this is a good receiving room too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fair.
Do we have to say something good about the Browns?
I was just going to say, let me build a little redemption.
Hey, we're out of time. Have a great
We got a few
You're
minutes.
not far off.
I knew I liked Jonathan. We have a few minutes left, and I do want to bring up a positive for the Browns. I think the biggest strength for the Cleveland Browns going into this year is that defensive line. And I mean, that may be the most obvious answer. You have reigning defensive MVP, defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, anchoring that edge position. On the other side, you have Zadarius Smith, who is, I think, an underrated pass rusher, doesn't get talked a lot about. And then you throw in Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris. Those guys are just like space fillers. I mean, they can take up 2 guys at a time on the offensive line, and that just lets that defensive line dominate, which you're going to need in the AFC North, right?
And we're going to see if Michael Hall is going to be back on the field at all, because I thought that was a really key piece in the middle of that defensive line that we're really taking the Browns over the top.
Yeah, so we talk about, they got to go up against Fields and Russ. They got to go up against Burrow. They got to try and contain Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, I do think that's the biggest strength coming out of the Browns. We got about 30 seconds left. Anybody got any more?
I'll be quick. We talk a lot about offense from all these other teams, and we like to talk trash about the Browns, but honestly, I think the Browns have probably the most consistent skill groups in the skill guys on the offensive side of the ball out of any of these 3 teams that we talk about.
Yep.
Sports Illustrated has them ranked as the 9th rated skill group going into the season this year. Amari Cooper, David Njoku.
I love their receiving core. Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, Eli Moore.
They have guys that can get the ball too, but it's going to be on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I agree too. And I think they have a shot at winning the division if Watson can come back to some sort of form. All right. That's it. That was fun. We worked through some errors, but we had a good time today. Thank you to the Zietz twins for hopping on with us this morning. Erie, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nick Artman, signing off for Paul Adamzak, Isaac Petcash, Jonathan Williams, and Rich Smith. That's it. We're done. Go have some barbecue.